There is a country on Earth where every single square inch of land sits higher than 1,000 meters above sea level. Not the mountains, not the highlands, every single part of it, the lowest point in the entire nation, is still higher than the highest point in most countries on Earth. Locals don't call it a kingdom by accident. They call it the kingdom in the sky. And in winter, shepherds here ride on horseback through actual snowstorms, wrapped in thick, colorful wool blankets that have become as much a symbol of national identity as any flag. This is Lesotho, a small, entirely landlocked kingdom completely surrounded, swallowed whole, really, by a single other country, South Africa. It is one of only 3 nations on Earth entirely enclosed within the borders of another, and the only one sitting so high above sea level that its people have built an entire way of life around altitude, cold, and horseback travel most of the world left behind generations ago. So what does it actually look like to live in a kingdom that exists entirely in the clouds? This is the story of life in Lesotho. Daily life in Lesotho begins in thin, crisp mountain air, the kind that carries sound farther than it should. A rooster's crow or a dog's bark echoing clearly across valleys separated by miles of rugged terrain. In the capital, Maseru, sitting right along the South African border, mornings begin with a steady flow of minibuses called taxis weaving through streets, carrying workers, students, and traders into the city center. The air filled with the mingled scent of coal smoke and freshly baked bread from small roadside bakeries. But it's in the rural highlands where Lesotho's true character reveals itself most vividly. Here, herders known as Balisana rise before dawn, wrapping themselves in thick, brightly patterned wool blankets. The Basotho blanket, as iconic to this country as any national symbol, before heading out on horseback or on foot to tend cattle, sheep, and the small, sturdy Basotho ponies that have carried people across this vertical terrain for generations. The Basotho hat, a distinctive conical straw hat called a mokorotlo, shaped to echo the peak of a nearby mountain considered sacred, remains a common sight across rural villages, worn as practical protection from sun and rain, and proudly featured on the national flag itself. Villages here are often built from stone and mud, round huts called rondavels, topped with thatched roofs, clustered together on hillsides, chosen carefully for both defensibility in centuries past and practical protection from the harsh mountain winds that sweep through these valleys. Children walk long distances to school here, sometimes several hours each way across steep mountain paths, a routine so demanding it would be unthinkable almost anywhere else, yet treated here as simply an ordinary, accepted part of daily life. Education valued highly enough that families accept the physical toll it demands. By mid-morning, small village shops and roadside stalls open, selling maize meal, vegetables, and basic goods carried in from Maseru or larger towns, since much of rural Lesotho remains genuinely difficult to reach by vehicle, particularly during the winter months when snow blocks mountain passes entirely. There's a hardiness to daily life here that shapes everything, a quiet acceptance that altitude, cold, and distance are simply the terms under which life is lived, not obstacles to be complained about, but conditions to be met with practical resourcefulness. Family and community in Lesotho are built on deep, practical interdependence, shaped by both Basotho tradition and the genuine physical challenges of mountain life. Extended families often live in close clusters of rondavels, sharing a single family compound across generations. Grandparents playing a central, deeply respected role in raising children, particularly in rural areas where many working-age adults travel to South Africa for employment, sometimes for months at a time, leaving grandparents as primary caregivers for grandchildren back home. This migration pattern, deeply woven into Basotho family life for well over a century, has created a particular kind of resilience and adaptability within families here. Communities accustomed to loved ones being away for extended periods, yet maintaining strong bonds through regular visits, remittances sent home, and a cultural emphasis on family loyalty that transcends physical distance. Neighbors maintain genuine practical closeness in Lesotho's villages too. Labor sharing during planting and harvest season remains common, families rotating between fields to help one another, a practice reflecting the same communal spirit found throughout much of southern Africa, here shaped specifically by the demands of farming steep, often difficult mountain terrain. Chieftainship remains a meaningful, respected institution in rural Lesotho, local chiefs serving as community leaders, mediators of disputes, and custodians of traditional land allocation, working alongside the modern national government in a system that blends old and new governance side by side. Basotho naming and family customs place real weight on lineage and ancestry, family history passed down through oral tradition, elders serving as the primary keepers of family and community stories, a role treated with genuine reverence. Community gatherings, particularly initiation ceremonies, marking the transition from childhood to adulthood, remain significant, deeply respected traditions here, young men and women undergoing separate initiation schools that teach cultural knowledge, practical skills, and community responsibility, a rite of passage that shapes identity profoundly for those who complete it. Basotho culture is deeply, visibly tied to horses, wool, and the mountains themselves, a national identity shaped unmistakably by the landscape it exists within. The Basotho blanket deserves real attention here, since it's genuinely one of the most distinctive cultural symbols found anywhere in Africa. Originally introduced through trade in the 1800s, these thick, patterned wool blankets were adopted so thoroughly and so proudly by the Basotho people that they became a defining national garment, worn daily for warmth against the mountain cold, but also carrying deep symbolic meaning, specific patterns and colors marking significant life events, social status, and personal achievement, gifted at weddings, initiations, and other major milestones. The Basotho pony, a small, remarkably sturdy horse breed, developed specifically to navigate Lesotho's steep, rocky mountain terrain, remains central to both practical transportation and cultural identity here. Pony trekking through the highlands, considered one of the most authentic ways to experience rural Lesotho, herders demonstrating a horsemanship skill developed over generations navigating terrain that would challenge riders almost anywhere else in the world. Traditional Basotho music and dance remain genuinely alive in community celebrations. The famous mokibo, a dance performed by women in a kneeling position, moving in rhythmic, synchronized patterns alongside energetic drumming and singing that accompanies major community and religious events. Sesotho, the national language, remains widely spoken alongside English, oral storytelling traditions, passing history, moral lessons, and cultural values down through generations in a country where literacy and formal education coexist comfortably alongside deep respect for oral tradition. Christianity arrived here in the 1800s and remains widely practiced today, often blended respectfully alongside older traditional beliefs and practices regarding ancestry and community, churches serving as genuine social and community centers throughout both rural villages and the capital. The Mokorotlo hat, mentioned earlier, carries its own quiet cultural weight too, its distinctive conical shape said to echo Mount Kilone, a peak considered sacred and historically significant to the Basotho nation. The hat appearing on the national flag as a direct symbol of this connection between landscape and identity. Lesotho's economy is shaped profoundly by its unique geography, its complete enclosure within South Africa, and a workforce with deep historical ties to labor migration. For well over a century, a defining feature of the Basotho economy has been labor migration to South Africa, particularly to the mining industry. Generations of Basotho men traveling to work in South African gold and diamond mines, sending remittances home that have long formed a critical part of household income across the country, a pattern that has shaped family structure and community life as profoundly as any single economic factor here. Diamond mining within Lesotho itself has also become increasingly significant in recent decades, several major mines producing high-quality diamonds that have drawn genuine international attention and investment, contributing meaningfully to national government revenue. Water, somewhat surprisingly for a landlocked mountain kingdom, has become one of Lesotho's most valuable exports through the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, an enormous engineering undertaking involving massive dams and tunnels that channel water from Lesotho's abundant mountain rivers directly to South Africa's more arid, water-stressed regions, generating substantial revenue and hydroelectric power for Lesotho in return. Textile and garment manufacturing has also grown into a significant economic sector. Factories in and around Maseru producing clothing for major international brands, providing employment, particularly for women, in an industry that has expanded considerably in recent decades. Agriculture remains vital across much of rural Lesotho. Farmers cultivating maize, sorghum, and wheat on terraced mountain slopes, livestock herding, cattle, sheep, and goats, continuing as both an economic and deeply cultural practice. Wool and mohair from Basotho sheep and Angora goats forming a genuine, respected export industry in their own right. Despite these resources, Lesotho remains one of the less economically developed nations in the region, its landlocked, mountainous geography creating real, ongoing logistical challenges for infrastructure, trade, and development that the country continues working to address. Cost of living in Lesotho varies considerably between Maseru and the rural highlands. In the capital, housing, imported goods, and modern conveniences carry meaningfully higher costs, reflecting the city's role as the country's primary commercial and administrative center. In rural mountain villages, life often centers around subsistence farming and livestock, many families growing much of their own food and relying on livestock for both sustenance and a measure of financial security. Cash income supplemented significantly by remittances sent home from relatives working in South Africa. Healthcare access remains a genuine, significant challenge in Lesotho's more remote highland regions, some communities requiring long journeys, occasionally by helicopter in emergency situations, to reach adequate medical facilities, though government and international health programs have worked steadily to improve rural access in recent years. Education is highly valued across Lesotho, the country maintaining notably strong literacy rates for the region, families making real, sometimes considerable sacrifices, including those long daily walks to school mentioned earlier, to ensure children receive schooling even in the most remote mountain communities. Utility access, particularly electricity, remains inconsistent in some rural highland areas, though Lesotho's hydroelectric resources, generated in part through that same water export infrastructure, have helped expand access considerably in recent decades. Most Basotho families describe daily life here through the lens of genuine resilience, resourceful, practical, and deeply connected to both the land and to extended family networks that provide real support during difficult periods. Basotho food is hearty, practical, and built around ingredients that grow well in this cool, high-altitude mountain environment. Papa, a thick, satisfying maize porridge, forms the true foundation of most Basotho meals. Similar to pap found across much of southern Africa, typically served alongside a vegetable relish called moroho, made from wild greens or cabbage, and often accompanied by meat when available, particularly on special occasions. Sorghum, well suited to Lesotho's cooler mountain climate, remains an important traditional grain used in both porridge and a traditional home-brewed beer called joala, an important part of community gatherings and celebrations, brewed and shared communally in rural villages. Meat, particularly from sheep, goats, and cattle raised across the highlands, holds real significance in Basotho cuisine. Often reserved for special occasions, weddings, initiation ceremonies, and important community gatherings, prepared simply, often stewed slowly over an open fire. Mokoenya, a traditional fried bread, and likhobe, a hearty dish combining maize kernels with beans, represent the kind of warming, substantial food well suited to Lesotho's cold mountain climate. Meals here designed genuinely to sustain people through demanding physical work and harsh weather. Meals in Lesotho carry real communal weight. Families and neighbors often sharing food during gatherings. Cooking done traditionally over open fires in rural areas. The warmth of the fire itself as much a part of the mealtime experience as the food being prepared. Lesotho's landscape is, quite simply, unlike anywhere else in Africa. An entire nation existing at genuinely dramatic elevation, earning its nickname, the Kingdom in the Sky, entirely honestly. The Maloti Mountains dominate the country's terrain. Dramatic, rugged peaks rising well over 3,000 meters in places, home to Thabana Ntlenyana, the highest peak in all of southern Africa, standing at 3,482 meters, a genuine point of national pride. Winter here brings real, significant snowfall to the highlands, an experience genuinely rare across most of the African continent. Ski resorts operating seasonally in Lesotho's mountains, drawing visitors curious to experience snow sports in an African country most people would never expect to offer them. Maloti Falls, one of the highest single-drop waterfalls in southern Africa, plunges dramatically into a rocky gorge near the town of Semonkong. The roar of falling water audible from a considerable distance. The surrounding area offering some of the most spectacular hiking and pony trekking found anywhere in the region. Selabathebe National Park, part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site shared across the border with South Africa, protects dramatic sandstone formations, rare plant life found nowhere else on Earth, and important sand rock art sites, some estimated to be thousands of years old, offering a direct connection to the earliest human inhabitants of this mountain landscape. The Senku River, known as the Orange River once it crosses into South Africa, originates here in Lesotho's highlands, its waters eventually traveling all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. A quiet reminder that this small, landlocked mountain kingdom feeds one of southern Africa's most important river systems. This dramatic, demanding landscape has shaped Basotho identity as thoroughly as any single cultural tradition, a relationship with altitude, cold, and rugged terrain that has produced genuine hardiness, resourcefulness, and a deep, practical respect for a land that offers both real beauty and real challenge in equal measure. Lesotho's extreme mountain terrain has shaped transportation here in ways genuinely unique among African nations. Horses and Basotho ponies remain a genuinely practical, actively used form of transportation across much of the rural highlands, particularly in areas where roads remain unpaved or seasonally impassable. Herders and travelers alike relying on sure-footed ponies bred specifically for this demanding terrain. The Sani Pass, connecting Lesotho to South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province, ranks among the most dramatic, challenging mountain roads found anywhere in the world. A steep, winding dirt track climbing to over 2,800 meters, requiring four-wheel drive vehicles and experienced drivers, considered by many overlanding enthusiasts to be one of the great mountain drives on Earth. Minibus taxis remain the primary form of public transportation in and around Maseru and larger towns, weaving through streets and connecting communities across the more accessible lowland regions. Helicopter transport, genuinely uncommon in most countries' everyday infrastructure, plays a real, practical role in Lesotho, particularly for medical emergencies and reaching the most remote highland communities during winter months when snow makes roads entirely impassable. Modern connectivity has expanded steadily in recent years, mobile phone access reaching even fairly remote areas, though reliable internet remains more limited and inconsistent across much of rural Lesotho compared to the capital. For young Basotho, growing up in Lesotho means navigating both a deeply rooted cultural identity and the genuine practical challenges of building a life and career within a small, landlocked, mountainous economy. Education remains highly valued, families making real sacrifices to support children through school. The National University of Lesotho, producing graduates across fields including agriculture, education, and public administration. Many young Basotho follow that long-standing pattern of seeking work across the border in South Africa, drawn by greater economic opportunity, though this migration carries real, well-understood costs to family life and community continuity that both individuals and the country as a whole continue grappling with honestly. A growing number of young Basotho are also becoming involved in Lesotho's expanding textile industry, tourism sector, and renewable energy projects tied to the country's hydroelectric resources, representing genuinely new economic paths that didn't exist for previous generations in quite the same form. Traditional initiation schools, mentioned earlier, remain a significant, respected rite of passage for many young Basotho even today, a deliberate choice by many families to maintain cultural continuity even as the broader economy and daily life continue modernizing around them. As evening settles over Lesotho's mountains, temperatures drop quickly at this altitude. Families gathering close around open fires, the warm orange glow spilling from rondavel doorways across quiet, darkening hillsides. In rural villages, evening often means a shared meal of papa and moroho, conversation unhurried, children finishing homework by firelight or lamplight in areas without reliable electricity. The simple warmth of the fire itself, a genuine cherished comfort against the cold mountain night outside. Herders returning from the high pastures settle in for the night, their Basotho ponies stabled nearby, blankets pulled close against temperatures that can drop dramatically once the sun disappears behind the peaks. So why do people stay in a kingdom that demands so much physical resilience simply to live day to day? They stay for a landscape, an identity found nowhere else on Earth. A mountain home that has shaped an entire culture around altitude, cold, and horseback resourcefulness. They stay for family bonds strong enough to endure long separations for work, and strong enough to bring people home again. And they stay for a deep, quiet pride in being Basotho, a nation that has built genuine, lasting dignity out of some of the most demanding terrain any country on Earth calls home. This is Lesotho, the kingdom in the sky.